What's going on? Welcome back to Thoughts with High G. I got a cool theory to share with the internet today, and it's nothing new because there's not a whole lot of new stuff under the sun, which is how the theory goes, right? But not this one, but nothing new under the sun, the expression, right? So with this one right here, this is the discharge theory. This has to do with positive and negative energy, and the positive energy that you store within yourself, and with earth and ground being the natural negative, and also the negative energy in others. So as you learn how to master your own charge, your own positive pole, a grounded positive pole, you will become stronger and stronger and stronger, where it becomes more difficult for the world to discharge you. And that's what this theory is all about today. Discharge theory. Discharge. Okay, I have a 12-pound weight in my hand. We're looking at it vertically, holding it, going up and down. The same pathway as the spine, the body and mind's neural network, the elliptical flow. So, one of the first good proofs that we have, tangible proofs that we are able to install into a deeper reverse engineer when it comes to actual energy of chakra spinning to the right and left, and number 9s and number 6s and stuff like that, like the orbital flows of atom, nuclear type chemistry, which is this is a piece of copper, but in metals such as a screwdriver, a Phillips head screwdriver, or a flathead screwdriver, a magnet, when a magnet is rubbed on it up and down, up and down, up and down, the stronger the magnet is, it will realign the charge, positive and negative charge. It'll realign the actual atoms in it, the chemistry of the inner, because everything's fractal. The biggest of things and the smallest of things are kind of like the same thing, but it's just down another scale, down another scale, up another scale, up another scale. So those all get pulled and magnetized and become realigned, positively realigned. And that's the anchor point that I want this conversation to be held on right there. It's positively aligned and keeping your charge. Positive pole, positively aligned, keeping your charge. And of course, coming from the house of this channel, Thoughts with High G, the positivity, when we say positivity here, or when we mention positivity, of course, it's the grounded version, and not just the positive off earth, no grounding, because we want to have a continuous loop, which takes positive and negative, positive and ground. Okay, all that being said, right? It just takes a couple extra words and going in, because we're explaining energy here. We're making tangible the hard to touch, or the intangible, or the hard to sense. Because I guess it's always being touched and moved around and bumped into and stuff, right? So back to this Phillips head screwdriver. A strong magnet has took the atoms of the inside of it and has magnetized it and realigned it into a positive pole, which is actually like a pole, the shape of it, but it's a positive pole, North Pole, South Pole type deal. And now it's magnetized, and it will remain magnetized until it gets discharged. So that's the 1, 2, 3, 4 of the discharge theory. So you got all the pieces of the puzzle right there. So we'll just go back from the deep to the medium right here for a minute, and just channel in a couple more details. the Phillips head will stay magnetized. It'll stay magnetized until it is discharged. Now, it's going to keep its charge until it's discharged. So if nothing comes into its sphere and it remains on a shelf somewhere, it'll keep that charge and charge and charge. And maybe just like time itself, depending on how strong the charge is, will dull the charge out and it'll just be neutral or grounded again. But in the meantime, it'll stay charged up until there's a stronger negative ground of a magnetizing pull to discharge it. And up until then, it will be magnetic, where it'll be just like a magnet itself. It'll be so charged up positively that it can pick up nails, screws, small pieces of metal off the ground, or whatever, depending on how big the magnet is. Remember, these things and concepts are fractal, so they can be sized up, sized down, scaled up, scaled down. So something very large could be charged with the right strength magnet. There could be a 2,000-pound rectangular block of steel, or bigger, charged with a pole, with the strength enough of the right magnet. Then that thing right there would probably actually be very healing for our anatomy and our body. We could just go sit in that subtle magnetic field, not like a high frequency field from cellular communication. So now that we have those four key puzzle pieces on this concept, the discharge theory is that you will remain positively charged the more you condition yourself to experience it, know it, and hold it, and go through life's ups and downs, the waves, the peaks and the valley and the peak, and to combine as many practical practices that will allow you to house your charge, how to charge your charge, and how to maintain your charge, and eventually how to even zap and utilize your charge. Okay, that's it for this video. I'm not even gonna hold it out more or whatever. The discharge theory, and so the discharge theory is real because we see it inside of the Phillips and flathead screwdriver. Scaled up, scaled down, different size metals. This charge is good. So this charge could be a good conversation. This charge could be, there's all sorts of levels of charge, but the key idea is to maintain a lifestyle that overall keeps you charged and keeps you insulated and keeps your charge to you, and also where you can use that charge to spark up the creation of places and ideas and concepts and creeds and codes. But the day-to-day pickups are like drinking a coffee or drinking green tea type of thing, where those are those supplemental boosters to what's really supposed to be like an overall healthy lifestyle, of like the juicing and the good breathing and stuff. And same thing with the charge boosters, the boost of charges that we get. And what I mean by that is the smiling faces, a kid who sees you at the store and they're playing peekaboo with you or something. That's a positive charge. someone compliments your shoes or your sweatshirt, your hoodie, or the type of hat that you wore that day. Like, dang, I ain't never seen that hat before. I rock with that. Where'd you get it from? That's like a positive charge. And then we also get into the receptivity and reception of and the awareness of. Because sometimes it's hard, it's hard to accept everybody's charges. Because then we also get into the next concepts of which maybe we can make a video on this soon. Then about like accepting, accepting certain charges or not is very similar to certain retail and vendors won't accept MasterCard, or some will only accept Visa, or some at a bank won't accept my first and last name for credit. So that means my charge is no good there according to their standard of what they're on and what they're going for. So depending on what you're on and what you're going for in life, leaving this legacy, putting these establishments, creating things that don't exist, and making music that people can feel, building a body that you are proud to live in. All these things, influencing your family, having one, traveling, making money in the stock markets and future markets, driving a truck, being free. All these things, right? That's what to accept the charge on or not. And the more you learn yourself and know yourself, and especially you get exposure to the world, real life situations, real life people, and then all those different knowledges come back around really to knowing people too. And then when you know people, you really know like what this game is. A big part of this game is about, because you can know all the most dopest science and mathematics and business and style and fashion and write books and different things like that, and but you're still going to be always responsible for your 12, your 6, 3s, and your 9. The cycles of the mind, cycles of the life, cycles of the 4 seasons, the cycles of the 24,000 year season, the 24,000 year, 24,000 year. So being able to increase your charge and keep your charge are both essential. They're both in one. There's no sense in doing one without the other. So that's the grounded part. Grounded part is keeping your charge. The positive pole that the fun part that you get to live and laugh and smile and be fully present as a present. Getting present is the positive pole or whatever, because that's the fast, fluttery, high vibration, that deal. So it's always a blessing to experience the spectrum. It's always a blessing to experience the spectrum. It's always a blessing to experience the spectrum. High, low, all. Grounded high vibrations is what it's about. Thoughts with high G, right? Now, grounded high vibrations is what's going to allow you to keep your charge. And then it's always going to be up to you to find ways to charge yourself. And certain things are shortcuts to charging yourself, so they can work and be supplemental or whatever. And this could be even all the way down to like the cannabises and the cigarette smoke and alcohols. But hopefully, you get more and more intentional with it, and don't go to certain extremes to get to certain accelerators. Because the world's already going, spinning, and moving fast enough at 2025 that it shouldn't have to take much. The way all the responsibilities are to keep up with money and stuff, and if there's not really some good ownership of houses, and it's just like if certain things are yeah, let's not. I'm not going to go there with it, but with the no, ma'am. No, ma'am. You know exactly what I'm doing, what you're doing. Please go out the door right now. Go. Go. See, she's a distracted dog. I love her, but I've had her ever since she was born. She's my dog's dog, so she's my grand dog, and I'm always gonna love her. She's super strong and talented and dope and all that, but like she was born at a very hectic time in my life when I was learning how to day trade, and I was just going down bad with a lot of different stuff in life. And then she had two more sisters, and I was raising all of them, and they were peeing and pooping all over the place, and I'm losing all this money and losing my stability and certain things in life. And my big dog, she would go outside and just run people down and try to like bite and stuff. And where I was living, I didn't have fence, and so like I know the way she is now is a reflection of those conditions. And like her and I's like energy tussles, because like that's what I'm saying, like your positive pole will catch a discharge even sometimes without words or without anything being done. No blow exchanged, because let's just think about it like two big magnets. Okay, I'm one magnet, she's another magnet. So if I only have just enough positivity charge, let's just say I'm coming from a hard stretch of like 6 months, or a hard stretch of 2 years, 4 years, where it's just been constant go, building, barely making, falling back, and things, or what are adjustment periods and depressions, you name it, coming back from PTSD, whatever. And it's just like the situation is just everyday living a lot of the time out here is just takes quite a bit of effort to get even like 25% positive or something, to just get some of that positivity going. So say you got 25% and you're holding on to it. Hey. Ho. He. Y'all don't come in here starting nothing. And 25% held. Y'all go watch and sit and watch and just do that, please. 25% held. And say it's 100%. We're just using simple 25s and quarter numbers here, but a very stronger magnet of a grounding negative polarity, just even comes into the valence field. Because us as humans, we have 7 to 9 foot electromagnetic fields. Is our aura, is our circle, is our inner dome, our auric cellular membrane. And that's our energy, that's our vibe. That's the one we get to choose how to charge up and how to run, and at least here in this channel, that's the type of stuff that we're on, is letting go of what needs to be let go to be able to enter those pockets and flows of creation and creativity within that 9 feet. Because that has to be good and stable first before it can be amplified into the world. And me personally, I've always been very careful and responsible of that. Me at 35 years of age around the sun, that like even in my tender ages of like 15 to 20 and 25, I knew I had good creativity, but I still was careful with the message, especially as a recording artist. I always knew with like instrumental music and advice, person to person, things like that. That it was good. But when it came to the record, especially the recording artist music, I wanted to just make sure that it was in correct alignment, so that it was worthy enough to be replicated. That it was accurate enough to be replicated. So as we fill up this 9 feet, and we know it's good, and we're able to keep that positive pole. And all these different things we can do. We're gonna start wrapping it up right here, because I know we've been saying that's what we're doing here, wrapping it up here. That's the exercising different ways, and the exercise doesn't even have to be nothing like traditional working out, but you can work out, exercise, work out. We're talking just like intentional calisthenics, medicine balls, a couple dumbbells at different weights, and just doing intentional things, opening up your vessel, your temple, your orbitable, your cyclical, the elliptical flow up and to the right. So each one of these things, that we know, we can trust which way the energy is going, and that's what's going to charge up your 9 feet. And that's what's going to make it harder to get discharged, where you can, walk into different rooms, different places, and different faces, and you're going to get better and better and better at being able to maintain your energy, even if something feels off. And when something feels off, that's really just like the strong grounding effect of different energies. So, like mentioned, when it comes to us, in the flesh and in the human form, we can just even be in the same vicinity, 9 feet, and no words have to be exchanged, and energy is already starting to pull both ways, one or the other. And depending on your positive flow, your positive spark, your available energy that gets surged. But if you're able to work with that energy, you make a strong AC induction motor. Because positivity by itself is just going to be magnetic. And which is good. We like to be magnetic. We don't always have to be forcing ourselves with ground, but just know that when you take your charge to the ground, it's going to cause a wind. It's going to cause a tornado effect. And that's our job, to be able to hold that down. And that means, and when I mentioned the exercising and like having a carpet or a yoga mat to do just like subtle sit-ups plus full sit-ups with medicine balls, and opening up the physical part of your chakras, that's going to allow you to breathe better and put more air down. And that's going to help with your blood and be able to regulate your cortisol and your stress responses, so you can keep your rhythm better than if you were just trying to do it with an unexercised body and an unintentional breath, and you're just trying to do it through your mind, or just trying to do it or whatever. So, which can be done also, if that's the way that works better. It's always exception. So, a lot of the times there's certain exception to most rules and practices or whatever. But the general thing here, and the reason why it's hard to keep your positive pole and your positive energy, is because we literally are grounded on Earth. It's hard for everybody. And since it's hard for everybody, that means it makes it easy to be grounded by default and join the program and join whatever the masses are doing, whatever the herd is doing, from whatever the ones who have large business and corporation and factories and counties and stuff to run, and states and trust fund, stuff like that. But times are a-changing and been a-changing for a while, and positivity has been pretty found to be a fun thing, but it just needs a little bit of guidance, just learning how to played bowling for the first time and you have the gutters pulled up, and that is to know that, hey, the positivity is great within the lane of being grounded. But everybody has a right to be only positive too if they want to be only positive. Just like, somebody has a right to only be negative if they want. But when it comes to things that all of us conscious human beings know, is we got hands, feet, toes, toenail, skin, and what that means is we shouldn't be violating on each other's skin, in our hands and our toes. So should none of the things we choose, whether it be positive, negative, or grounded positive, be harmful or violent or hurtful to another person. That's point blank. That's the only way that we're going to be, and I don't want to say only way like awesome only way, but that's the most expedited way, one of the most expedited ways to get to the better part of the age of Aquarius, where us and technology get along well and we start making all sorts of cool stuff and we start exploring the upper air more. So we'll be up and on Earth, grounded. But if we start all up there first and we forget how to respect each other and have humanity and get along and not be so reliant on money and inflation and have some access to different foods, beans, greens, peas, lentils, we get to access the better part of the age of Aquarius, and maybe the higher ups and the powers that was or be and different things like that, maybe they'll let us live more if we coexist with each other and just kind of figure it out on our own and not need so much help. All right, that's his transmission. The positivity is a flow. It goes to the right. It's the elliptical. You got to find a way to draw it in and hold it. There's all sorts of ways and tactics, but most of it comes from the breath and keeping a constant and aware breath of the tempo, of the direction of your inner temple and your inner heart vortex of your assigned mission and dream, and what you feel most excites you, and that will bring the world of this next age of Aquarius the most benefit. Oh yeah, so standing in the sun, breathing, doing stomach exercises, spine exercises, spinal decompression, massage, intentional massage, romantic stuff, sauna, friendship, respect, love, skateboarding, responsible recreational cannabis, responsible recreational alcohol, spring water, sea moss, shea butter, aloe vera gel, S&S Emporium, New Lifted Records, extended play jazz music, extended play neo soul, instrumental, no words. No words are really needed. That's all extended play, up tempo, groove music, extended play, bossa nova. Certain tarot readers that are more focused on like intentional living and transmuting energy, and that's also part of this transmutation, becoming adept levels of the discharge theory is to the transmutation level of going straight into the battle, straight into the heart of where the strongest ground is, and delivering your spark. So at that point, if you're that deep into the ground, it's like, I hope you know the analogy of Lord of the Rings, where the whole mission to all those 3 movies, it was a small team of 5 or so, which became a larger team, of course, but was trying to get that one little spark, that one little ring that can make them boys invisible and make one person free forever. It can make one person free forever. But it was the most strongest when that one little thing went all the way into the deepest ground pit control of the worst of it. And all it took was that little ring. But it was so hard to get that ring there because there was so many layers of challenge, so many obstacles. Then of course the closer you get to the center of it, the bigger the beast. New levels, new devils. So let that be a lesson for anybody who's going to the source with it, because that's their mission, to add a grounded positive pole charge into this new age of Aquarius. And that's been today's channel of the Discharge Theory. Positive pole, grounded, high vibration, maintaining the alignment, the positive pole, being able to share that spark, being able to receive that spark, being able to maintain your spark amongst the common charge of the world within people, which is grounded. This is not to get into the deep spiritual debacle of right and wrong, good and bad. This is looking at it from corely what it is, and then we can build upon that on its esoteric nature, soul and spirit nature. And yes, it is soulful and spiritual. And the Phillips head screwdriver is the example of that. So maybe in one of these videos here, I need to collect a high magnet. I used to have all sorts of little science experiment stuff, and I still do have some science experiment stuff. Like right behind you, I got the table of elements and other things I've been able to experiment with. I've been able to experiment with life-size Tesla coils, putting out magnetic fields or frequencies, and lighting up light bulbs that are not hooked up to nothing, and which is like free energy. Yeah, well, not free, but as far as you still got to power up the Tesla coil, but the energy transfers for free from there to there. And then, as far as pulling in your charge and having a center to receive the charge, that's going to be all up to each person and up to self to figure out how to open yourself up and how to receive, and methods to receive, and the exercising and the breathing and the correct friendships and the correct friend groups and opportunity groups and ways to use your expressions and talents and love and all that good stuff and your respect. But make sure to always respect yourself first. And depending on what you want to do in life, you know you have to condition yourself, body, mind, and soul, to go out into the world and do those things so that you don't get discharged. Because as soon as you get discharged, you're going to have to work on building your charge all the way back up. And depending on how big your battery bank is, it might take a while, or you might get some knocked off you. But the key is to have such a large bank and such much, because different things are going to pull and take some off anyways. You could even just walk in certain environments, buildings, rooms, and it's just so much of the ground that just even being in there is going to start automatically drawing. It's like being in a radiation zone or something. It's like, all right, we only got 15 minutes to come in here and out. You know, anything past that. So, but the key is to have such a large reserve of positivity in you that you can handle and you can take some discharging, because that's also, the more you can take the discharging, the more you're going to make your own charge explosive. That's been another Thoughts with High G. Appreciate you so much for coming through the hangout and stuff. And we got links all up in the descriptions and bios. S&S Emporium, clothing and merchandise and swaggers and good stuff, and high vibrational clothings. And 8 Hertz Earth is another clothing brand that goes at the store. We'll be having these links up real soon so we can wear the merchandise and start making a little bit of change every time we go out and just get some cabbage from the grocery store. All right, peace, nuclear family.